You told yourself you were done. You remembered what they did. You remembered how they made you feel. You remembered the confusion, the anxiety, the waiting, the disappointment. And for a while, maybe you even felt free. Maybe your body finally had one quiet day where it did not feel like it was waiting for the next wound. But then something strange happened. A song came on, a place reminded you of them, a random memory appeared out of nowhere, and suddenly you missed them. Not a little. You missed them in a way that made no sense. Because how can you miss someone who hurt you? How can your brain want the same person it once begged you to escape from? How can one part of you know they were dangerous for your peace, while another part of you still wants to hear their voice? At first it feels like proof that you still love them. And maybe part of you does, but that may not be the full truth. Because sometimes what you miss is not the person. Sometimes you miss the version of them your brain kept hoping would come back. The kind version, the warm version, the version from the beginning. The version that looked at you like you mattered. The version that made you believe everything could still be good again. And that is where the trap begins. When someone hurts you all the time, it is painful. But when someone hurts you, then comforts you, then disappears, then comes back, then becomes cold, then becomes warm again, the brain can become confused. It does not only remember the pain, it remembers the relief after the pain. It remembers the message after the silence. It remembers the apology after the damage. And because that warmth was rare, it felt powerful. A message after silence can feel more powerful than a message from someone consistent. An apology after cruelty can feel more intense than kindness from someone safe. A small moment of affection can feel enormous when you have been starving for it. And that is one reason people stay attached to people who wounded them, not because the pain was beautiful, but because the relief became addictive. That is not simple love, that is emotional conditioning. Your nervous system learns the pattern: pain, then hope, then relief, then fear, then waiting, then reward, then pain again. And because the reward does not come every time, it can become even harder to let go. Psychologists sometimes call this intermittent reinforcement. It means the brain can become more locked in when the reward is unpredictable. If kindness came every day, your body might relax. But if kindness comes randomly, after confusion, after distance, after fear, your body starts checking harder. Maybe today they will answer. Maybe today they will be kind. Maybe today they will finally understand. Maybe today the good version will stay. And that maybe can become a cage. There is another part that makes this even harder. Your brain does not only bond with people who are good for you, it bonds with people who feel important to your survival. And when someone becomes emotionally central, losing them can feel like danger, even if they were bad for your peace, even if they made your life smaller, even if your mind knows they were hurting you. Your body may still react like you lost safety. That is why missing them can feel physical. The tight chest, the heavy stomach, the urge to check your phone, the sudden wave of sadness, the feeling that something is unfinished. Your logical mind says, they were bad for me. But your attachment system says, where did they go? And those two parts of you can fight for a long time. This is why healing from someone toxic can feel so confusing. You are not only grieving the person, you are grieving the fantasy, the future you imagined, the apology you never got, the explanation you kept waiting for, the version of them that appeared just enough to keep you hoping. And maybe the hardest part is this: your brain hates unfinished stories. It wants meaning, it wants closure, it wants the final scene where everything makes sense. So it keeps replaying the relationship. What if I said something different? What if they really did care? What if I overreacted? What if they changed later? What if the good parts were the real them? But rumination does not always heal the wound. Sometimes it keeps touching it, again and again, not because you're weak, because your brain is trying to solve pain like a puzzle. But some people are not puzzles, some people are patterns. And once you see the pattern, the question changes. It is no longer did they care. Maybe they did. Maybe they cared in moments. Maybe they cared in a way that was real to them. But the better question is, did their presence make me safer, calmer, and more whole? Because love is not only about intensity. Intensity can come from fear. Intensity can come from uncertainty. Intensity can come from never knowing where you stand. Real safety usually feels quieter than that. And when your nervous system has been trained on chaos, peace can feel boring at first. A healthy person might feel strange because they are not making you chase them. Consistency might feel empty because your brain is used to drama. Calm might feel wrong because your body learned to confuse anxiety with connection. So when you miss someone who hurt you, it does not always mean you should go back. Sometimes it means your brain is detoxing from a pattern. It is reaching for the familiar even if the familiar was painful. And that is one of the cruelest things about memory. After enough time passes, the mind can soften the sharp edges. It remembers the laugh, but not the waiting. It remembers the hug, but not the panic before it. It remembers the good day, but not the many days you spent trying to earn another one. The brain edits not because it wants to trick you, because it wants relief. It wants to believe the pain meant something. It wants to believe the person you loved was not the same person who hurt you. But sometimes they were. Both versions existed, the warm version and the cruel version, the apology and the repetition, the promise and the pattern. And healing begins when you stop separating them. You do not have to hate them to admit they hurt you. You do not have to erase the good memories to respect the damage. You do not have to pretend it meant nothing. But you also do not have to return to the same fire just because you remember that it once felt warm. Missing someone is not always a sign. Sometimes it is a withdrawal, sometimes it is grief, sometimes it is your nervous system looking for an old rhythm. Sometimes it is the childlike part of you still hoping that this time, the story will end differently. But a single good moment does not erase a repeating wound. A beautiful memory does not cancel a harmful pattern. Someone can give you comfort and still be the reason you needed comfort in the first place. But healing is the moment you stop asking why they could not love you better and start asking why you accepted love that kept injuring you. Because the pain of leaving can feel unbearable, but the pain of staying can slowly become your whole life. It can teach you to confuse anxiety with chemistry. It can make you believe peace is boring and chaos is passion. It can make you grateful for the smallest kindness, because you forgot what consistent care feels like. And one day when your body finally learns that peace is safe, you may look back and realize something. You did not miss the person as much as you thought. You missed the hope. You missed the dream. You missed who you were trying to become beside them. You missed the ending you never got. And maybe that is why letting go is so hard. Because you're not only walking away from someone, you're walking away from the version of the story, where they finally became who you needed them to be. But some stories do not become kinder just because you keep rereading them. Some doors do not become homes just because you keep knocking, and sometimes the person you miss is not the person who existed. It is the person your heart kept trying to invent so the pain would make sense.